So verse 2 of chapter 3 continues from right in the middle of Paul's thought, introduced in verse 1. Verse 2 reads, "To malign no one, to be peaceable, gentle, showing every consideration for all men." Because this verse picks up right in the middle of the sentence, really, this is all part of Paul's remind imperative from the beginning of verse 1. So Paul's instruction here is that Titus should remind believers to malign no one. This word malign is really interesting. Translated literally, it's blaspheme. So Christians should not blaspheme or speak slanderously of others. Instead, we're told that Christians should be peaceable, or they should avoid quarreling or fighting. Gentle, showing consideration for all men. The word translated gentle here carries this thrust of being fair or reasonable in dealings with others, and that walks hand in hand here with being considerate and fair toward all people. Really, these two verses very succinctly restate everything Paul has written regarding how Christians should carry themselves on Crete in the first 2 chapters of the book. In behaving in these ways, they will not be like the Cretans, and they will not be able to come under scrutiny by the Judaizers and other false teachers. And really, Paul's encouraging Titus here to remind the Christians to live consistently with what they believe. Because of what Christ has done, there is no reason for them to be fighting amongst themselves or other people. There should be no desire to take down the empire or to try and undermine the authorities of the day. These are the people who answer to God, and they're trying to live their lives simply as honestly as possible on an island that is an absolute mess. And what I hope you're beginning to see is that there's a real simplicity to Paul's teachings, and to Christianity, really. That looks a whole lot like a mature adult behaving with common sense. In essence, the Christian should be the most well-adjusted person on the island of Crete. Of course, there's this sweeping narrative of what Christ has done, but in terms of simply living daily life, there's no real romance or haughtiness to Paul's teachings here. Throughout the book, we've seen Paul reiterating time and again that the Christians should just be sensible, to not act like you're a heathen, which you're not because of what Christ has done for you. So as we near the end of the book, there's some real basic applications that we can lift straight from the text, and this is really one of them. Christians are to be sensible people who treat others fairly, which might sound a lot like simple wisdom that we're taught in 1st and 2nd grade, but isn't it funny how quickly those lessons go out the window as we get older and cynicism sets in? But here we see Paul telling Titus not just to affirm these things, but to remind the Christians that this is expected of them, even in a culture that is not going to show the same to them at all.